All right, hello, welcome back to another episode of Sports News with Kyle Alexander. All right, and as you can see today, I got my little Ravens hat. This is a draft cap from a couple years ago, but you can guess what that means. If you don't, well, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get the speed a little. All right, this is my first official mock draft. This is my first mock draft of the year. I will be doing 3 or 4 depending on how I'm feeling, but I'm doing the first one right now after the season started, the postseason, since they have the draft order for the teams that got eliminated from the playoffs. So with that being said, the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock with the first pick. All right, yeah, I got that little ESPN sound in there. So with the first pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, I have the Arizona Cardinals selecting Nick Bosa, the defensive end from Ohio State. Nick Bosa is good. He's the best edge rusher, and he didn't even have to play this year. He only played like 3 games, and yet he's going first overall. So that would be a nice way of getting Chandler Jones some help, and also helping out their pass rush. So that's a good pick. He's going first overall, regardless of like who had that pick. So next up, the 49ers are on the clock. All right, the pick is in. With the second pick in the 2019 draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Josh Allen, outside linebacker from Kentucky, or he's an edge rusher. Well, I mean, actually, I saw some film on him, and he doesn't even rush like that. I mean, he drops in the coverage a little more, but he still ended up getting 14 sacks this year, and the 49ers need pass rushers, and with Nick Bosa going off the board, this is the next best pass rusher. This is the second best pass rusher in this draft. Jets on the clock. Now, Jets, it could go either way. They could take offensive lineman or a receiver. They have to protect Sam Darnold, get him some help. But let's see. With the third pick, the New York Jets select Jonah Williams, offensive tackle from Alabama. The Jets, they have a young quarterback in Sam Darnold, and we saw some potential, especially with that game against Detroit, even though his first career pass was a pick 6. That's quite a welcome to the NFL rook moment. But, I mean, hey, he still ended up winning the game. It was had like 40 points. And so, yeah, Sam Darnold, he's shown some flashes and potential. So the Jets need to solidify that fort. They need to get him protection. And that's why I think Jonah Williams, I think he's the best lineman in this class. So that will be the best pick. Next up, the Las Vegas Raiders. Oakland, Las Vegas. I don't know how you Raiders fans interpret that. I'll just say Raiders, yeah. The Raiders are on the clock. The Oakland Raiders, I have them selecting Clelin Ferrell, the defensive end from Clemson. Now, Oakland, they need an edge rusher. Ever since Khalil Mack left, you know how many sacks their defense has gotten this year? The entire defense combined for a whopping 13 sacks. 13 sacks for the entire defense. That's terrible. So Khalil Mack. So that obviously states that Khalil Mack was getting like most of those sacks. So now I think Cleveland, Nick Bosa and Josh Allen off the board. You gotta go with the next best thing, and that's Clelin Ferrell. All right. With the 5th pick, I have the Buccaneers taking Greedy Williams, cornerback from LSU. Buccaneers, defense is it's like in the middle. Like their front seven, I think their front 7 is actually pretty. Like they have some talent on that front 7, but the secondary is what's been struggling. When your best corner is way out of his prime, Brent Grimes, and Vernon Hargreaves, who's he hasn't really shown the potential that he had in Florida. You need a corner. So that's why I think Greedy Owens, that's a good fit. You know, best available corner. With the 6th pick, I have the New York Giants, the other New York team, taking, drumroll please, Dwayne Haskins, quarterback from Ohio State, or the Ohio State. I don't know any Buckeye fans out there, but Dwayne Haskins, I think he's the best quarterback in this class ever since Justin Herbert. He's going back. He said that he won't be declaring that he'll be going back to Oregon for his senior year. I think that automatically makes Dwayne Haskins the best quarterback in this class. And then Kyler Murray isn't playing football, so Dwayne Haskins, he's pretty mobile, but he knows how to pass the ball. His accuracy is amazing. Or I won't say amazing, but he has pretty good accuracy, especially on some deep passes. So I believe that's a good pick. But they could go either way. Giants can go anywhere on this pick. They could take quarterback, linemen, or linebackers, like corners. But I honestly think that they should. If I was the GM here, I would go with Dwayne Haskins or a lineman. But as of now, I would take Dwayne Haskins. All right. With Dwayne Haskins going a pick before them, the Jacksonville Jaguars with the 7th pick select N'Keal Harry, the wide receiver from Arizona State. That kid, that's a beast. Like, what is it, 6'4". And like he's one of those receivers where he's open even if he's covered. Like if it was a game-winning situation, like, all right, think of this, game-winning situation on the 1-yard line. You got N'Keal Harry going on the goal line fade, like 2 people on him, a safety in the corner, like double covering him, and then you got a tight end that's like butt naked wide open. I mean, yeah, the smart thing would be to throw it to the tight end who's open, but I mean, in that chance, I would take my chances with N'Keal Harry. Like, man, he's a jump ball king, and he's also has some pretty good run after catch skills, like in the open space, and and I think he's the best receiver in this class, and yeah, Jacksonville could use a number 1 receiver, and honestly, there are a couple quarterbacks that could fall into the 2nd round, like that they could still get, like Ryan Finley, or like, yeah, maybe Tracy McSorley, or no, he's not second. Oh no, Tracy McSorley's not a 2nd rounder. But I mean, yeah, or honestly, they could roll with Blake Bortles for 1 more year, and then wait next year for like a Justin Herbert or a Tua Tagovailoa or a Jake Fromm. So that's my thought on that pick. With the 8th pick, the Detroit Lions select Rashawn Gary, defensive end from Michigan. Lions, they use an edge rusher with Ziggy Ansah, and they also got Damon Harrison from the Giants in the trade halfway through the season. So if they can get another edge rusher, another defensive end on that other side, that would be a pretty solid defensive line. Wrong side of the ball. But yeah, I mean, Rashawn Gary, he's a good defensive end, and his stock's kind of like, I feel like his stock's been like up down-ish, but this is honestly, I think this is kind of like a match made in heaven kind of pick. Because I mean, Lions, yeah, if you're a Lions fan, you would want to be like, oh, you hope Josh Allen could fall here, or Cleveland Farrell. But in my mock draft, you have to go with the next best thing, Rashawn Gary. Yep, that's it for that pick. All right, with the 9th pick, I have the Buffalo Bills taking Greg Little, offensive tackle from Ole Miss. Again, kind of the same thing with the Jets. You have a young quarterback who's shown flashes of potential. Like Josh Allen, he has the best arm out of any quarterback from that draft class. And then he can also run. Like, I didn't even know he was a runner like that until this year. Like, he can take off, especially like when he hurdled that Vikings defender. He also rushed for like 100 yards in like the last couple games. So, I mean, they need a receiver, but I feel like they could find one. They could. All right, Buffalo, if they're looking for a receiver, maybe free agency, second round. Actually, no, some receivers are going to fall to the second round. There's going to be a lot of good receivers in the second round, so they could do that. Or there are rumors that the Steelers might potentially look to ship off Antonio Brown. Try to make that happen. I don't know how they're going to make it happen, but they could try and make that happen. So I think with Greg Little's, he's a pretty good offensive lineman. You got, and Buffalo's O-line is not that great. They got Deion Dawkins. So get another tackle. Need to protect your quarterback. All right, the Broncos are on the clock. All right, with the 10th pick, the Denver Broncos select Drew Lock, quarterback from Missouri. Honestly, Broncos could either take him or Will Grier or DeAndre Baker. But personally, I like Drew Lock on the Dolphins. I think I believe that's a better fit. But the Broncos pick a couple spots before them. Like Dolphins have the 13th pick, so the Broncos picking 3 spots ahead of them. And they may want a quarterback too, because Case Keenum wasn't bad this year, but he was kind of like a band-aid. So Drew Lock has the best arm in this class. So Drew Lock, welcome to the Denver Broncos. I mean, but again, they could go with the corner to pair with Casey Hayward, because Bradley Roby's more of a slot corner, I believe. So yeah, but in this one, Drew Lock goes to the Rockies. Man, is that right? Yeah, Rockies, Mountains. All right, you get the point. I got him going to the Broncos in this first edition of my mock draft. With the 11th pick, I have the Cincinnati Bengals taking Devin White, middle linebacker from LSU. Bengals need linebackers. All right, next pick sign. But the Bengals need linebackers. Vontaze Burfict is getting old, and he can never stay in because he's always doing something to get suspended. Then Nick Virgil, nobody really knows who that is. And then Preston Brown, he's... I feel like linebacker or lineman is their top need, but I would go with linebacker. So that's why I think Devin White would be a great pick for the Bengals. Let's move on to the Packers with the 12th pick. With the 12th pick, the Green Bay Packers select Montez Sweat, outside linebacker from Texas A&M. They need pass rushers. I mean, Kyle Fackrell he's stepped up this year. I didn't even hear about this guy until this year, but I mean, he's had a pretty phenomenal season. And Clay Matthews is getting older, so they need to find a replacement for that. So that's why I believe Montez Sweat is that's a good pick. That would be a great pick for them. And then Green Bay, they just kind of fell off. Green Bay's like never been the same ever since they went to the Super Bowl. And traded Clinton Dix, so they need a safety. But in this one, I have them taking a little edge rusher first, because Montez Sweat, that would be a perfect fit for the Packers. All right, with the 13th pick, the Dolphins, after seeing Drew Lock go to the Broncos, have decided, you know what, maybe not get a quarterback. And I have them taking Zach Allen, the defensive end from Boston College. I believe Zach Allen is a little bit of a sleeper, but he's a good defensive end, and the Dolphins need to get younger on defense, because Cameron Wake is in his 30s, and then they got Robert Quinn. Like, their defense is just old. And they just need to start getting younger on the defensive side of the ball. So I believe this is a great pick. I don't know, maybe they could take Will Grier here, but right as of now, I have them taking Zach Allen from Boston College. All right, with the 14th pick, the Falcons have taken somebody who may have been considered a top 5 pick. Yes, the Atlanta Falcons take Ed Oliver at pick 14, the defensive tackle from Houston. Now you're probably saying, Kyle, why do you have Ed Oliver all the way to the being the 14th pick? Well, Ed Oliver, I think he's been injured this year, and not even that, just I don't none of those teams before. I don't really see them needing a D tackle, or like Oakland. Maybe Oakland could take them, but could take Ed Oliver. But Oakland needs an edge rusher more because they have Maurice Hurst from Michigan, who they got last year, and he's actually pretty good, showing some potential. Got John Hankins on a 1-year deal, but not even that. Even if they don't re-sign him, they got PJ Hall, and he's not too bad. And none of these other teams don't really need a D tackle. But I mean, as I look over this and revise, I may see a team who might just take him because of his talent. But the Falcons are the first team that really need a D tackle, and he's up with the 13 teams addressing other positions. The Falcons are all right, we've been able to been able to get this guy. So yeah, and the Falcons need a D tackle. So that's just my opinion on why Ed Oliver has fallen to 14. Maybe he is a top 5 pick, maybe he isn't. We'll see when the actual draft happens. All right, with the 15th overall pick, the Washington Redskins select Will Grier, quarterback from West Virginia. Will Grier, he's a pretty good quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks in this class, and I believe he's 24, so I believe he has a level he's one of the more mature quarterbacks in this class. And the Redskins, they're we need a quarterback now because they were on the verge of possibly being a playoff wild card team, but then you got Alex Smith breaking his leg, and then his career might be over because he did see someone saying he had an infection in it, which might be career ending. And then you got Colt McCoy, who broke his leg. So now your number one quarterback is Josh Johnson. So with that being said, Redskins GM, owner, coach, whatever, if you're seeing this and Will Grier is on the board by the time you're picking, take Will Grier. All right. All right, with the 16th pick, the Carolina Panthers select Deontay Thompson, safety from Alabama. Now, Panthers, I believe their defense has kind of been struggling, but not even that. Their secondary has been struggling, but now they found two corners that could be the cornerstone of their defense, and James Bradbury and Dante Jackson. Then they picked up Eric Reed, but he hasn't really been the same as he was when he was in his prime with the 49ers. But I believe they could. If I was them, I'd re-sign Eric Reed and then take Deontay Thompson and have those two at safety. Deontay Thompson is the best safety in this class, and they need a safety. Easy as that. All right. Next up. All right. 17th pick, Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Brown fans, give it up. Give yourself a hand. Y'all no longer have the first pick. That's maybe. Y'all no longer the worst team, so y'all don't clinch the first pick by week 13, 14. And no longer a top 10 pick team. You now have the 17th pick. You almost made the playoffs, so give it up from going 0-16 to being eliminated from the playoffs in week 16. That's impressive. But I have the Browns picking 17th overall, selecting Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle from Alabama. Now, some people say he's the best defensive tackle in this class. I personally may agree with them, but I don't know. I'm still kind of going back and forth with who's the best defensive tackle. But the Browns, they could use the defensive tackle, either that or a receiver. But I say You got Myles Garrett on one side, and then you also got Larry Ogunjobi on the defensive line. So you get Quentin Williams. That's going to be a pretty hard defensive line. That's going to be a pretty hard defensive line for running backs to run through to get past. And also for linemen to block. So, yeah. Yeah. And Quentin Williams, I kind of see, like, I kind of give him, like, a Fletcher Cox kind of comparison. Because, like Fletcher Cox, he doesn't try to do, like, spin moves and nothing like that. Like, he tries to go through the linemen. He knows how to use his hands. And he's great. He's pretty good at getting to the quarterback. So pair him up with Myles Garrett. That's pretty deadly. All right, the Vikings picking 18th overall. I have them taking Dalton Risner, offensive tackle from Kansas State. Vikings, I don't know what happened. Last year, they almost made it to the Super Bowl until they got blown out by the Eagles. But they made it to the NFC Championship, and they had Case Keenum at quarterback. I'm not hating on Case Keenum, but, not exactly a franchise quarterback. Or, let me reword that. He's not exactly, like, your best option as a franchise quarterback. So I'm like, this year you get Kirk Cousins. I'm like, all right, Vikings, they got a franchise quarterback. No. Or, they did, but they not the same as last year. So, I feel like maybe some of that was Kirk's fault. A lot of people are blaming Kirk, but maybe his O-line hasn't really been the best this year. So, you get Dalton Risner to help protect your $84 million man. So, yeah. That would be the smart pick, in my opinion. With the 19th pick, I have the Tennessee Titans taking Ja'Kai Polite, edge rusher from Florida. He's an outside linebacker, but they do need some edge rushing, because and they need an outside linebacker, especially with Brian Orakpo retiring. So maybe that'll help. That'll encourage them. Be like, Ja'Kai Polite's still here, so yeah. All right. With the 20th pick, the worst team in the league, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, I'm ready. I hate Pittsburgh. Any Pittsburgh fans watching this, I'm sorry. I just can't stop but laughing at the Pittsburgh fans, because they beat the Bengals and then sat there and watched the Ravens, watch C.J. Mosley get that interception to send the Ravens to the playoffs. It just makes the Ravens winning and going to the playoffs that much better. But yeah, all right, I'm gonna stop ribbing y'all. So with the 20th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select DeAndre Baker, cornerback from Georgia. Pittsburgh's defense has been all right, but their secondary has been incompetent. They got Morgan Burnett. He's been pretty all right this year, and they signed Joe Hayden, who's way out of his prime. Yeah, he's made some nice plays this year, but you can't go with Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden's not a number one caliber corner, anymore. And then they got Artie Burns, who's, his last name kind of implies he kind of gets burnt a lot, maybe. But I say build up that secondary, get DeAndre Baker, second best corner in this class. He won the award for best corner. So, for nation's best corner. So, why not? Y'all need corners. Anyway, all right, now we are going on to the playoff teams. With the 21st pick, I have the Indianapolis Colts selecting Dexter Lawrence, the defensive tackle from Clemson. Now, this is a good pick because the Colts D-line is pretty... that's average. Their D-line average was 21.5 sacks, or they had 21.5 sacks this year. Honestly, I just like this pick. Excuse me. But this pick, the Colts need some D linemen. So I think they get Dexter Lawrence, that will definitely help them, especially that'll help them with their pass rush and run stopping. All right, with the 22nd pick, the Eagles. I believe they needed corners, but some of the players are stepping up, and DeAndre Baker is taken off the board. So maybe you can go Trayvon Mullins or Byron Murphy, but no. And a lot of people have them taking Yanni Kajus, but no. I have the Eagles taking David Edwards, offensive tackle from Wisconsin. No, Jason Peters is in his 30s. He's getting older, and they're talking about him retiring. And you gotta find a replacement for him quick, because some offensive linemen. The only way you can really find a good offensive lineman is through the draft, and that one you're pretty much just guessing, because anybody in this draft has anybody in this class has 50% chance of living up to their potential, or in 50% of being a bust. But I believe they take David Edwards. That'll help them out, because I believe if they don't draft anybody, Hal Vaitai would be their offensive tackle, and I just don't really see that. So I say Eagles should get David Edwards here. All right, with the 23rd pick, the Seattle Seahawks, they need offensive linemen badly, but knowing how the Seahawks draft, they never get offensive linemen. They won't. Like last year, they took Rashad Penny. I'm not hating on Rashad Penny. He was good in college, but I'm saying they took him over a lineman. But not even that. If they was going to take a running back, they took Rashad Penny over somebody like Darius Geis, who was still there, even though he got injured. But I mean, Chris Carson stepped up this year, but I mean, Darius Geis was the second best running back in that class. So know how the Seahawks draft. I have the Seahawks taking Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle from Clemson. I believe he failed his drug test. Yeah, Christian Wilkins, he failed his drug test, and that's why he's not playing in the game. So I believe his stock's gonna fall because of that. But Seattle, they're rebuilding their defense. Their secondary is actually pretty good. So I mean, they get a D tackle, help boost up that defensive line. Pair him up with Nazir Jones. Boom. You got a defensive front right there. All right. Next up, with the 24th pick, I have the Oakland Raiders. So, via the Dallas Cowboys, taking Trayvon Mullins, cornerback from Clemson. They need another corner to pair up with Garrett Conley. I don't even know who their other corner is, but I know they need to work on their secondary, and Oakland needs to work on a lot. But honestly, I say best pick here would be Trayvon Mullins to have another corner to pair up with Garrett Conley, and also give like Carl Joseph some help, so that he's not like the only guy in the secondary. But yeah. All right, with the 25th pick, we got my Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. I have the Ravens taking Marquise Brown, wide receiver from Oklahoma. The Ravens, all right, Lamar Jackson has stepped up this year. He's kind of shown that his passing is kind of inconsistent. And the Ravens don't really have a number one receiver. John Brown's on a one-year deal. I would like the Ravens to bring him back because of what he was able to do in the beginning of the year. But ever since then, it's just like he's shut down. So honestly, the only receiver I see them keeping is probably Willie Snead, because he's one of the best possession receivers. He's like a possession, like third down receiver for the Ravens. And then Michael Crabtree, they gave him a 3-year deal, but he's not really playing like it. So I believe Marquise Brown if Marquise Brown's still on the board, get him. Ravens have a burnout receiver. Lamar Jackson works on his accuracy. Boom. That's a good pick. All right, with the 26th pick, the Houston Texans select Yanni Kajus, offensive tackle from West Virginia. Again, Houston has the worst O-line in the NFL right now. 62 sacks given up, which is the league's worst. Get an offensive tackle to protect Deshaun Watson. Even though they still won the division and made the playoffs, and Deshaun Watson still been able to put up big numbers. Like, Deshaun Watson has 4,000 yards this year, and then DeAndre Hopkins having 0 drops. That's good, but you can't let your quarterback get sacked like that. So protect the quarterback, get Yanni Kajus. Okay, this pick, I honestly like this pick. So with the 27th pick, I have the Los Angeles Chargers selecting Raquan Davis, defensive tackle from Alabama. Chargers, I don't believe they really need much. Maybe they could look for a Phillip Rivers replacement, but the offense is solid. Defense is solid, but one thing they need a defensive tackle because Brandon Meebane's getting up there and he's not really So I would say get the best available, Raquan Davis. Pair him up. So if you got Joey Bosa, Raquan Davis, and Melvin Ingram, that D-line is... I don't even know what I was about to say. Like, that D-line is just shut down. Like, no running, and then the pass rushing, and just be... Whew. I believe that's just going to be beautiful. Like... All right, with the 28th pick, the Oakland Raiders via Chicago Bears select A.J. Brown, wide receiver from Ole Miss. Jordy Nelson they traded away Amari Cooper, and now he's having more success with the Cowboys. Jordy Nelson is old, and he's not going to be able to do it. Martavis Bryant, Jordy Nelson's at his prime. And Martavis Bryant and Seth Roberts, they're not really number 1 receivers. So I say get A.J. Brown from Ole Miss. Like, he's a pretty good receiver. He's really good on the deep ball. So I say get A.J. Brown to help solidify that receiving core. Give Derek Carr some more options, some better targets. With the 29th pick, the New England Patriots select Noah Fant, tight end from Iowa. Now, you're probably thinking, why do they need a tight end? They have Gronk. Yeah, but Gronk hasn't really played up to what he was able to be, like what he was in the past. And I don't there are questions about like Gronk retiring with his injuries. Now we know he's probably not going to retire, but I mean Gronk. I believe there was New England talking about, there were rumors about Gronk like possibly getting traded, or like there were rumors like Gronk not being on the team anymore. So I think you could get Noah Fant, or I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I've heard some stuff about maybe trading Gronk, but honestly I don't think the Patriots will do that. But I'm saying if they get Noah Fant, I'll do the 2 tight end system like you did with Gronk and Hernandez. That was unstoppable. So, and with Belichick being the mastermind he is, that would be pretty perfect. If you got Brady, and then he got James White out of the backfield, Julian Edelman and Chris Hogan. Then you got Gronk, who most people still can't shut down. But then if they start to catch on him, you got Noah Fant, who's the best tight end in this class. So yeah, I mean, I feel like Belichick will probably make this pick with the, like he's a mastermind, and going back to that 2 tight end system, it could work. All right, with the 30th pick, the Los Angeles Rams select Mack Wilson, linebacker from Alabama. The Rams defense is pretty underwhelming. in terms of like how they looked on paper this offseason. But the defense has still been pretty all right. And I believe one of their weak spots is linebacker. So if they get Mac Wilson, who's one of the best available, and Mark Barron's probably been a bright spot. But if they get Mac Wilson, that would definitely help improve their defense and their linebacking core. All right, with the 31st pick, the Kansas City Chiefs select Brian Burns, edge rusher from Florida State. The Chiefs, they have one of the best offense. They have the best offense in the league. It's unstoppable. But their defense is just terrible. Like they're first in offense and then like 31st in defense. And I mean, they have some bright spots like Chris Jones, D Ford, who stepped up. So the Chiefs could go any position on defense, but I say they get an edge rusher to help improve that pass rusher and that defensive line. All right, last but not least, with the 32nd pick, the Green Bay Packers via New Orleans Saints select Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, safety from Florida. Now, like I said, they traded away Clinton Dix, and they just got Montez Sweat. So Packers get a safety. The Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is the best safety, or second best safety in this class. I saw that bowl game where Florida played Michigan, and Shea Patterson threw it, and Chauncey Gardner had a pick, but it was like the receiver. It would look like Shea Patterson had he basically baited him. Like Shea Patterson had a nice a nice pass, and it would have been probably would have been a completion. And Chauncey Gardner, he was backpedaling. He looked like he was going to the guy on the inside, cuts back or like turns around and then cuts all the way across field to pick it off. So that's just some pretty high IQ for a safety. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he's one of the best safeties in this class. So it would make sense for the Packers to get him, especially with them trading Clinton Dix. That is it for my first mock draft. I will drop another one after the Super Bowl has been set and after the Combine. And maybe I'll do another one after that, just like a final one. Yeah, and I will also drop another video today talking about some college football quarterbacks, one in particular. So that is it for this episode of Sports News with Kyle Alexander. I will talk to you guys next time.